Welcome to www.wario1.
A creepypasta is a horror story spread around the internet in the form of a clear fiction or an urban legend or a rumor. What I look after in horror tales or movies is the uncanny. To me, spooky tales with normal human mass murderers or similar things have never spooked me. What freaks me out and gives me chills is the uncanny. When the story or movie doesn't show you or tell you that there's a clear danger or makes you feel like you have control. The feeling of not having control and the feeling of the weird. That is what defines creepy in my eyes. Today I will show you my top 5 spookiest creepypastas that I have read. This is opinion based, obviously, so if you don't see a creepypasta that you like on this list, don't be mad. It's simply because I haven't read it, or the fact that I like these on the list here better. So grab some snacks and turn off the lights, this is gonna be fun. You can also read the full stories afterwards, as I will link them in the description below. Maryana Gleskorv. This is a creepypasta that tells of a supposedly cursed video uploaded back in 2008, named Maryana Gleskorv. The video would make the ones who watched it go insane and either commit suicide or rip out their eyes. Apparently 153 people fell victim to the video before it was completely removed by YouTube. This video features a man in the bottom right hand corner with a red background. The man simply stares at the camera, expressionless. Eventually a high-pitched noise would begin to play, and for the last few seconds of the video, the camera would zoom in on the man, where the man now would have a weird, almost smiling, grin on his face. Something that's important for a horror story, or any story in general, is the title. Maryana Gleskorv is a perfect name, in my opinion, as it makes you think of a man, and since it's connected to a horror story, you start to think who this man is, since the name of the story is based around this man. The title of the movie, or the story in this case, is kind of like the cover or the box art of the story. It's what you look at the first time you see it. People have wondered who this man in the video is. Some claim that he is the devil himself. If you search for this video today, you will find many videos of it, but apparently none of them are the original video from 2008. The Russian Sleep Experiment. This story tells of 5 people who were taken as prisoners to Russia, to be subjects for an experiment. This took place some years after the Second World War, and the experiment was to keep these 5 humans awake for a month to see how the human body reacted. They did this by locking the subjects into a chamber where they released a gas that prevented the subjects from falling asleep. The chamber was filled with enough food and water to last for a good month. The first 5 days went actually fine, and the subjects seemed normal. However, after the 5th day, they started to get more paranoid. They became more scared and had more dark conversations with each other. Eventually they stopped talking with each other and instead started to whisper into the microphones spread around the room. Later, one of them would start to run around the room and scream for several hours until his throat couldn't handle it anymore. Even more days passed, and the subjects were completely silent at this point. As the days went by, the researchers eventually opened the chamber, only to find one of them being dead, and the others being, well, almost not human anymore. The dead subject had parts of his organs removed, and the other subjects who were still alive had much of their skin removed, and they had kept screaming for the researchers to turn the gas back on. In the end, after many dramatic events, only one subject was still alive. Before a commander shot him, He pointed his gun at him and shouted, "What are you?" The subject answered, "Have you forgotten so easily? We are you. We are the madness that lurks within you all, begging to be free at every moment in your deepest animal mind. We are what you hide from in your bed every night. We are what you sedate into silence and paralysis when you go into the nocturnal haven when you cannot thread." The commander then shot a man, with the subject's last words being, "So nearly free." Gateway of the Mind. In 1983, there were some scientists who had a new theory. They believed that if a human was without any of their senses, they were able to speak to God. An old man, who said he had nothing left to live for, volunteered for the experiment. A very complex operation took place, where the researchers cut out all connections from his senses to his brain. After the operation was complete, the old man couldn't see, hear, taste, smell, or feel anything. There was no way for him to sense the outside world. He was all alone in his head. After a few days, he claimed that he heard voices and even spoke to his dead wife. The scientists really got curious when the man stated that he heard voices of dead scientists and also started to mention these dead scientists' personal information. After about a week, the man went crazy due to the many voices in his head driving him insane. He tried to run into walls or cause himself pain in different ways to make it stop. He begged for the scientist for anything that could make him sleep in order to escape it. But it didn't take long before he was terrorized in his dreams as well. He later begged to be killed, and tried to scratch his skin off and rip his eyes out, trying to feel the physical world in some way. He was tied down for many days to prevent him from killing himself, until one day when he randomly and slowly turned his head towards one of the scientists, and despite his lack of his senses, looked him straight in the eyes, before he whispered, "I have spoken to God, and he has abandoned us." After he said this, he just fell over and died. The cause of his death was never understood. Anora Petrova. Anora Petrova was an ice skater who died in a mysterious way. The whole story is in an email to a friend of hers that she sent her, where she tells what had happened to her. She was bored one day and nervous for a Crystal Classic competition the day after, so she searched on herself on Google. She found a Wikipedia page about her. She was surprised, so she naturally checked and believed that it was probably her club or her dad that had made this page for fun. The information she found was normal information you usually find, with date of birth and hometown and similar information. But what surprised her was that the page stated that she had won the Crystal Classic competition the next day. Then, on the next day, she won the competition. She was very happy, and she would check the Wikipedia page before every competition to follow, and it would always tell her the results that later would come. Later, her coach thought that she was so good, she should just drop out of school and aim for the Olympics, and so she did. When the selection came for the Olympics, she thought she wasn't good enough for it and she became nervous. So in fear, she made a Wikipedia account and edited her page, in hope that she would get in this way. She then updated the page, only to see that new text had been added, which read, and I quote, "Anora Petrova is a selfish little bitch who is going to get what she deserves." After this, people got angry at her. She was banned from competitions, her coach left her, and the Wikipedia page would constantly write horrible things about her. Once she turned 18 years old, she moved to Switzerland to start a new life. Everything came back to her. She was once again back on the horse. That was until one night, in a hotel, where she couldn't resist checking back into the Wikipedia page she did long ago. It now didn't only read her date of birth, but also her date of death. And the date of death was the current day. Anora Petrova was found dead the day after. Not only this, but a picture of her had been added to the Wikipedia page. However, the picture of her looked more old, weird, and almost demonic-like. SuicideMouse.avi. I like the theories and speculation around the bigger parties in the world. What lies within Area 51? Does President Obama know any secrets that we don't? Are aliens among us? These kind of questions are always fascinating. This is also the case with companies or producers who seem harmless at first. SuicideMouse.avi is an apparently lost episode of Walt Disney's Mickey Mouse, and marks the first creepypasta in the lost episode genre, where several other creepypastas would follow its example, like Squidward's Suicide and Ed, Edd and Eddy the Lost Episode. The episode, SuicideMouse.avi, was found by worker Leonard Moulton, who wanted to have it as a digital copy as he found it. You can find SuicideMouse.avi on YouTube, but more than one version exists. The one you see on the screen right here is probably the most popular one, and most likely the original. The video shows Mickey Mouse walking down a looping street while looking depressed. The music playing in the background is surprisingly disturbing. In the early part, it sounds like horns or some kind of sounds from ships or boats. The video will eventually cut to black, before coming back with Mickey's face continuously getting more and more distorted, Mickey's smile getting bigger and bigger, the background getting more and more weird, and with a scream getting louder and louder. Landon Martin never finished the video and asked an assistant of him to finish it for him and tell him what happened in the end. The end of the episode features Mickey's face, like most other episodes, but here with a music box like music playing in the background. Landon Moulton's assistant came out of the room and said the following: "Real suffering is not known." After this, he was just shooting himself on the spot. Many people had tried to get their hands on the original footage, and as I mentioned, you will find more than one version of the episode here on the internet. Which one is the original? And is the story true at all? That is for you to decide. Thanks so much for watching, guys. This has been my top 5 favorite creepypastas that you can find. I also plan to do some kind of video of top 5 creepiest videos on YouTube if you're interested in that. And if you have any other ideas, or if you like this idea of creepy videos and have any other ideas for similar videos like that, make sure to tell me in the comment section below and I will be sure to read them. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all on my next video.
I'm a Wario. I'm gonna win.